Good evening, everyone, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm glad to be here, acknowledging all the organizers and the African Day Committee for giving us this opportunity. Now I'm going to take you from Namibia to the Nile Basin, which is subject of my research work. It is a multidisciplinary PhD program coordinated by Professor Tingfa Margarita Chang and supervised by Professor Luca Izzepi from the University of Udine. And in this particular paper, I am here presenting it also with, together with Professor Mohamed.Yassin from the University of Udine also, who is expert in architecture, earth architecture and heritage. And for the purpose of this paper, I have conducted an interview with him, which is lasted for one hour. Now I cannot show you it in the presentation because it is too long, but I can give you some during my talk. I'm going to give some brief notes from that interview. And also for the purpose of this paper, I traveled to the Nile Basin, to Rwanda and Uganda and Ethiopia. And in Ethiopia, I conducted an interview with the directorate of the UNESCO in Addis Ababa in order to investigate the importance of the heritage for the Nile Basin. I don't know if anyone here knows what is the Nile Basin, or everyone, if I ask you where is the Nile, I think majority of you is going to tell me 2 or 3 countries, basically Egypt. Yeah, isn't it? Yeah. I'm true? Yeah, okay. The Nile Basin, it is an extended territory, starting, if I go from the Mediterranean, it goes from the Mediterranean region up to the equatorial lakes, and it is composed of 11 states. If we are considering South Sudan as newly independent state. I don't know if it is this one, is to move it. This one? The second one. Sorry. So my talk, I'm going to give a very brief introduction about the Nile Basin and this research, and then I'm going to give you very brief notes about the Nile Basin heritage. You know, the Nile has been cradle for important civilizations, and then I'm going to, in terms of sustainable developments, I'm going to give some highlights on the big challenges which are facing these territories. And then I'm going to give some brief about the territorial transformation which is taking place in that territories. And then I'm going to give, as I told you, the Nile Basin, it is has been cradle for important civilizations, from the pharaonic civilization in the upper Nubia to the desert in Sudan, the Nubia, coming back to the highlands of Ethiopia, Aksum and Lalibela civilizations, going back to the civilizations which are also present in the other riparian countries. The riparian countries of the Nile Basin are, go in alphabetic order, they are Burundi, Congo, Democratic Republic, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Egypt, Kenya, Rwanda, South Sudan, Tanzania, and Uganda. These are the 11 states which are composing the Nile Basin. And this, in the Nile Basin, the major challenges here are of economic, environmental, social nature, and these countries need to catch up in terms of development, in terms of education, health, provision of health, basic health, sanitary water, adequate water for drinking, rural development, and all this stuff of development. So they are going, if we consider the Millennium Development Goals, they haven't achieved it. They haven't achieved the Millennium Development Goals because the Millennium Development Goals was set in 2000, and now we are ending the era of these Millennium Development Goals, and we are in transitional area time, going from the Millennium Development Goals to the Sustainable Development Goals. So they are, in this September, at the United Nations in New York, they are going to decide, and I think now they have defined 17 goals instead of the classical 8 million goals which were set for the period 2000 up to 2015. And this period from post-2015, it is going to be 17 Sustainable Development Goals. So these countries are struggling in process of nation building after their independence from the colonial era, and they are still running to set a lot of processes of nation building and development, and give priorities in these processes, which sector to focus on in order to boost their development well. So, and also they are facing big challenges. For example, if we consider South Sudan, big challenges of vulnerability and security and conflict. So, this is, despite of this historical inequality between them and within the countries and at international level, they are still trying to catch up with this. So, this, for example, now I'm just showing you, in my research, I am just considering the boundaries. I don't consider the boundaries of the nations. I am taking all this as one territory, because I assume that the Nile is unifying asset for all this region. So most of the civilizations and the concentration of the population in this area, it is because of the river Nile. You have to consider that 40% of the population of Africa is concentrated in this territory, which is equivalent to 468 million population. And then I'm going to show you also the projections of that. So 40% of the population of Africa is just focused here, in this area, due mainly to the water, and this, and also the other endowments, the lands and so on. So the basic foundation here is water and land, which is the ecological foundation, in addition to the climate and the biodiversity, farming system, and so on. So this is one of the major drivers also for transformation of these territories. Here, in addition to that endowments also, there are the discoveries of the natural resources. Here I'm just showing the pipelines of the exportation of the oil from southern Sudan to the rest of the world. And since when these people have been in these territories? Since millennia, maybe more than 10,000 years, because there are many theories about the origin of civilization and the humankind, and I don't think that. But since we are talking from cultural, from heritage point, there is important heritage along these territories, which is focus of my study. So, what is the methodology I followed here? The PhD started in 2013, scholarship from the Italian government. After I conducted the desk work and literature review, and then I carried very rapid electronic consultation about focusing which thing should I focus on. It was not easy. And this consultation, electronic consultation, also I was assisted by the FAO, and other organizations, universities. So I focused on that as the burning issue. Then I developed the conceptual framework and started to conduct some semi-structured interviews in order to point out what are the major challenges and try to build a matrix of these challenges in terms of priorities also for these countries. So I'm going to, and also very important thing in this research is the collaborative research with different stakeholders, universities, and also the interpersonal connections, because now I'm here because also some part of interpersonal connections and knowledge of me, of Abdullah and Agnieszka. I was gently invited for this conference. So also the interpersonal connections is very important also asset in the research, and also now the digital connections also facilitated also this sort of research. One can say to me, this territory is too vast. How do you connect with this? But today with WhatsApp and social media, even Facebook or other connections, and also the possibility of registering short videos and send messages, I can have feedback from the territories, and also I can conduct consultation with the people in that. So this is also so. So when I started, I put this framework, this conceptual framework. I have the Nile Basin. What I have in this Nile Basin, I have first the resource base, which is land and water, and then I have the supporting ecosystems, which are the biodiversity, climate, nutrients, and soil. So this is the departure on which we have the living organism, which is human, fauna, and flora, and then we have the supporting resources, which are feeding this in order to have security for their nutrition, and the cycle continues. So this is the departure in this. So in order to do this, you have to know the population of the river Nile, how much they are, where they are located, how they are set, what is the situation of the fauna, the fauna and the flora, and then you continue your concept. So this concept went in terms of blocks, and at the end I concluded to this. The PhD, it is a multidisciplinary PhD. It's based at the Department of Civil Engineering and Architecture, and it is in 4 disciplines. Sorry if I'm late with the time, but it is focusing on ecology, economics, landscape, and territory. And from the consultation and assessment, I found that there is a big problem of food security and nutrition, and within that there is problem of food wastage, which is the food loss and food wastage, food which is produced but is not reaching the consumer, or food which is produced but not harvested or lost during the storage because of it is perishability, or food which is lost post-harvest loss along the supply chain. And then I have a problem of the urban waste, the second problem, environmental issue. Most of the garbage and the urban waste, especially in terms with the growing population, is finishing inside the river and the tributaries, and this is jeopardizing the health of the river and the integrity of the environment. And this is interacting with the ecology and interaction with the socio-economic life of the people, and it is affecting the landscape, because if you have unclean landscape and you have garbage everywhere, the tourists will not be even motivated in order to come to your place. And also it is an issue of territorial transformation. It is part here in Namibia, in the case we have seen before, people are doing territorial marketing because they are selling the landscape as one of the assets of their. So this is the interaction here, and the second box of this matrix. Then I have a big issue of the conflict and the common resource management. Since I am not considering this traditional political boundaries here in terms of local, regional, national, international, global, I am taking it in terms of spatial dimension, I'm taking it in a philosophy of transboundary. So here for me, the international or transboundary cooperation is a very important issue. We have to go for the transboundary cooperation in order to manage the resources of the Nile and address all the challenges which we are facing here in terms of water quality or water, all the issues connected to the water, land, biodiversity, climate change, and the supporting system, issues connected to the Ferris frame, which was fauna, flora, and so on. And then lastly now, I added this heritage as one of the assets which is very important because I assume that it is integrated part of the economy, the ecology and social life, and also for the territorial assets of this. So combining this concept and the matrix, we are going ahead. And for that, I have conducted almost quite a lot of interviews with the ministers of waters, professors from universities, students, people from the Nile Basin, asking them about these major challenges which we are facing in the Nile Basin and how we are going to transform these challenges into opportunities in order to support the livelihood and well-being of the people. So, this is the formulation of the research. But coming back here, I'm just focusing now on the last arrow of the matrix on the heritage, and here I'm considering only the living heritage, which is now what we call it by the UNESCO the biosphere reserves. The biosphere reserves, it is not new concept, but is a concept which is taking place now. And these are places to develop and apply for climate change resilience and mitigation. And these are recognized by the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organizations and the states of that territories. And these are set as models for sustainable development and reconciliation, because the reconciliation of what? Reconciliation between the sustainable development which we need and the nature conservation, because when the humankind making big interventions in the nature, because it needs that transformation, they have to consider or reconcile with the nature conservation. So this is the big challenge here, and these biosphere reserves are compared to advanced, as I said, of the UNESCO. And here I have conducted this 1 hour and 40 minutes of interview for this issue. And for example, if I mention in Africa we have currently 81 biosphere reserves. 27 of these biospheres, almost 22, are within the Nile Basin of these biosphere reserves. So if I take an example, Ethiopia has 3, and now they are working in Tana Lake Tana, to make recognition of other 2 biospheres. And these biospheres are taken as an examples where they set pilot projects, research, mobilization of resources, and awareness, advocacy in order to boost the sustainable development in that areas. So if we consider in Ethiopia, we have 3, it is Kafa, Yuyu, and Sheikh Forest, and as exemplary. So this is also these interventions are science-based interventions, with putting the women above all and men at the heart of as actors and beneficiaries of this. So this is a new era of action, of best practices with technical, intellectual, financial support, instead of the unwanted warnings, because sometimes there's excessive warning in these interventions. These are the, if I consider the biospheres in the Nile Basin, for example, in Burundi, though they are there, but up to now there is zero registered for the UNESCO biosphere reserve. In Congo we have 3, Egypt 2, only 2, Ethiopia have 3, going to 5, Eritrea 0, Kenya have 6, Rwanda 1, South Sudan 0 because it doesn't mean that there is nothing there, but up to now it is not recognized, and also we have to consider that South Sudan is a newly independent state since 2011. Tanzania is 3, Uganda 1, the total is 22. 22 out of 81 present in Africa. So now I'm going to get inside the transformation. This is a political transformation which is taking place in terms of economical and political transformation which is taking place inside Africa. And in Africa we have these regional economic communities which are trying to make unity, African unity, through the regional integration, monetary integration, and so on. So if I took my area of interest, the Nile Basin, I will have the IGAD. Here is the majority of the countries which are making the Nile Basin. So this fragmentation here we have in Africa, in these regional economic communities, and basically there are 8 blocks which are considered. So here we are in Europe, we have the European Union, which is based on the steel, but it is started from the steel and now it is expanding, reaching 28 countries. And here in Africa we have 53 countries, but then we have this fragmentation. So this is a political transformation and regional integration which is taking place. And for this there is Agenda 2063, the African Union agenda, in order to build on for the 50 years. So if I consider my countries of interest or territories of interest, they are part, some of them they are part of different, but I believe that this Nile Basin can make one block based on one block in terms of economic integration, because also there is similarity in different aspects. So they can lead even in that aspect. Okay, so sorry, there's an error down there. This is a slide. Now I take you also another territorial transformation which is very important. If I consider the population of these countries now is facing huge transformation. If I consider the population of the Nile Basin here and up to 2014, it is 464 million. Now let us consider go here from 2010 and up to 2060. So if let us take Ethiopia for example. Now in Ethiopia we have almost 100 million, and in 2030 they are going to be 132 million. So we'll have another 32 million coming on. This is a huge demographic transformation, which implies that we have to there's a need to build new schools, new housing, new roads, new everything in order to accommodate this. In addition to that, there will be competition on the natural resources which are finite and limited, and also there will be competition on the water, on the land, there will be also the challenge of the climate change and all this stuff. So this is one of the biggest, I can say that, demographic transformation. So you will see that Ethiopia is going to pass from, in this case, when it is 2010, it was 85 million. 4 years later, it is 96 million. So you can notice the shift here and the increase in the population. And this is also applied to all of them. None of these countries is not growing in terms of demography or the population. So this is one of the challenges, but also an opportunity. It is not only because when we have huge populations that we are not now. China is competitive because also it has also quite a number of people. They are economically active and they are productive. Another transformation here in the region are the constructions of dams. You know, there is also issue of energy security for this major part, almost very small portions of the population have access to electricity. If we consider the rural electrification, we have little in Africa people who have access to power, especially if we're here I'm considering Sudan and South Sudan. Yeah, so there will be need for energy security, and that means we have to increase the sustainable sources of renewable energy from the hydropower, from wind, from solar, from thermal, from even nuclear. Why not? Because there is potential in Egypt and Sudan also. And then wind, also the sea. So there will be, now along if I consider only the Eastern Nile, there are now existing 15 dams along the Eastern Nile. And in program there are other 26 new dams will be erected. So there will be huge transformation in this. Sorry, I went above my time. Oh, it's okay. Let me go on. So what is going to do this transformation? It's going to transform the nature from this to this. And this is the Great Renaissance Dam, the Millennium Dam, which is under construction now in Ethiopia. And there will be other dams which will be constructed. So the major challenge here for us is the reconciliation between the sustainable development and the nature conservation, because now you are not going to see this like this anymore, because after the erection of all these dams, the river Nile is going to be transformed into a regulated river. It is not anymore natural river in its flow. So this is huge human intervention and alteration of the nature, and you are not going to see this natural be used anymore. It will be to some extent reduced or regulated. This is, and then also I just put this is here the migration. Now we have also migration of people crossing the Mediterranean, but also with that transformation also the nature will be changed. So the flora and fauna is going to change, and maybe the birds is going to. This is just an example. This slide is showing the biodiversity, and you can see it from different point of view. These, for example, are the birds which are migrating from the Nile Basin towards the world. Only the Nile Basin, not all Africa. And the funny thing is that you see where do they go? They avoid the Mediterranean, and they go like this, then they go like this. So because it is maybe too wide for them to cross, so they have their radar something. They go this way. But now we have unfortunately, these people now crossing the Mediterranean, which is very sad. This, for example, this is another huge territorial transformation. You see, all of these are new dams which are going to be built along the Nile, and there are many. There are many dams. Huh? Yeah, it is too much, but it is this is a study which is prepared by the Eastern Nile Technical Regional Office, where it is showing the potential and proposed hydropower plants which could be visible. So the visibility studies for these dams, it is already there, and it is just waiting for finance or implementation. Finance for some of these projects is already secured. For example, if I take here the border dam, which is before called Millennium Dam, now it is called the Great Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, the GERD. The fund for this dam is already secured. It is $4.6 billion, and the implementation is already going on, and the implementing company is Nile Construction, Italian company, and it will be finishing by 2017, and it's going to produce 6,000 megawatt, which is quite a lot, in order to secure power for the people. And by securing the power, that means we are going to transform also the nature of the agriculture from subsistence agriculture maybe to industrial agriculture, and do some transformation for this population in order to increase their income and change the way of their life, because also they will have power. When you have power, all your life set is different, and it is changed. I do thank all the organizers and the Africa Day for this opportunity. I didn't have time to show you the interviews, but it will be available for the later on, maybe with the paper. Yeah. Thank you very much, and I hope that I was.